into, you're deluded. That's it. You're under Satan's spell. You're under a trance. You're mesmerized. Okay, you've been duped, deceived. You're not free. If you're born with a cost of living, a tax on your life to live, you need to pay it, right? Somebody's going to tell you, yes, of course, duh. I mean, get with the program, common sense, be pragmatic, be practical, get with, conform, go along to get along. I mean, everybody knows what it's all about. It's all about money, man. Get a good career, make a lot of money. That's where you find your safety, and your security, which is your way out of fear, right? Paying this phony pseudo reverence, this perverted reverence to the God of this world, money and Satan. Okay, and this is where you're going to find freedom, financial freedom, as we define freedom, right? And anybody out there that says they're not a money lover is deceived too. They're a liar. So I'm not going to sit here and play stupid. On one hand, I absolutely hate money. It's a very schizophrenic thing for me. But on the other hand, I love money. And I love to pay my bills. God understands. So it's not like you're ever going to pull the wool over God's eyes. If there's one thing he's not, and that's stupid. So we all need to get with it. Be really honest and understand, look, when somebody's not a threat, like myself, to anybody, okay, to anybody, just like Jesus. He wasn't a threat to anybody. The establishment, what's the establishment? It's built on sand. Every establishmentarian should want it to fall. The status quo should want it to fall and not be threatened. What are you worried about? You see, you've been trained to be worried and scared of change because Satan's evil. He's crazy. It's just getting worse and worse. Like I said, how hard it's been for me to watch this thing go into descent. And I know how they've done it. I know how they've increased our level of slavery, enslavement, and oppression and tyranny. It's through the money. It's through Satan. Through getting us need it more and more. We got to chase numbers. Got to make more and more numbers as they destroy the worth of our currency, debasing it. This is deliberate. This is not capitalism. This is antithetical to capitalism. It's anti-capitalism. That's what it is, crony capitalism, and it breeds communism. Duh. They know what they're doing. They're not operating in a vacuum. We know what they're doing. We know how they're manufacturing communism, which leads to totalitarian, authoritarianism, the state control, police state, all that crap. Okay, all these laws and rules that don't make any sense, and the elitists are exempt from it. This New World Order cabal loves that kind of thinking. This is where they're trying to lead us, where we're permanently divided. And everybody thinks it's one thing, but it's not. Everybody thinks that each other's our enemy, but you've been made to believe that. You've been trained to believe that the communists are your enemy or that the capitalists are your enemy, when really decent, upright people are at each other's throats. That is so diabolical. That is so devilish. It's so satanic. It's so like the rulers of this world. But still, these people, remember, there's flesh and blood, so we can't hate them. We can't hate the John McCains of the world, the Nancy Pelosi's. Okay, all these people that I just think there's too many names to name of these people that are in high places, the high-ranking politicians out there. Okay, in concert with the money printing class. Okay, and this is the whole thing with the wars. This is about money. I've talked this over. I understand this. With my Palestinian friend, I mean, he knows too. The thing that the bankers hate about the Muslims is they hate usury. They hate interest rates. They hate lending and to get money. They don't want to be controlled. They don't want to be enslaved by the money masters. This is Satan. And they're right. And I'm with them on that issue. I'm wholeheartedly with them. And I hope to think all devoted Christians and Jews and Buddhists and just atheists that are on the side of humanity, okay, I hope they all prescribe to that too. I hope they understand this. We don't want these people running our lives. They will enslave humanity in perpetuity. You have a duty to your kids, okay, to your grandkids, somewhere along the line, okay. You're not going to leave such a dynasty of wealth that, it's just going to be absorbed by your next generation. They're not going to be able to do it. Okay, this thing doesn't end well for humanity if we don't get with it and snap out of it and really understand we're on the brink of something here. And the best sometimes we could do is save our own soul. But in the meantime, that fighting the good fight and reaching out to save other people's souls by convincing them, look, you're duped, man. You're deceived. You're deluded. Your thinking is askew. And you got to get with it. You got to snap out of it. You got to turn to God with all your heart, okay, with all your mind and with all your soul and say, God, help me. I need you above all else. Okay, this is what's going to give us the wherewithal to keep coping and contending with the evil that is coming upon this world, because as Satan sees the writing on the wall, and he knows that spirit thereof, he sees that his time is short and that this whole thing is coming to a head. He's going to act more and more insane, as he doesn't want to, he's squirming. He doesn't want to be destroyed. He doesn't want to be put into hell. He wants to make people's lives miserable. Isn't this the whole thing with the fall of man and the lies and all this crap? This knowledge of good and evil, and now we got to pay this price with death. I mean, was this worth it? Hell no, it wasn't worth it. And how many people out there, I don't care what faith you're from, would say, yeah, if I had another choice, man, I would never choose to know. I'd ignore that tree of knowledge of good and evil, God. That's it. And so, that's the right path to be on, is to understand that we want our sin to find us out. At the end of the day, we wish we never knew what sin was. We wish we had never sinned. We wish, and that is the love of money. We're all sinners, okay? We all love money. We have to admit and confess that, okay? The ones that have the biggest problem out there aren't admitting it. They're not confessing it. Okay, you've got to do that in order to be free. Someday you got to understand we will serve each other freely. Okay, it's an instinct not to be self-serving, lazy piss ants. It's an instinct to use your talents, to want to be appreciated. So the whole system can work completely fine entirely without money and have full prosperity, just total freedom, where the only thing you're beholden to is your conscience, your honor, your integrity. The spirit of truth talking to you, saying, hey, don't you want to contribute? All this is free. You can take whatever you want, use it for the time you're here. But you're free to do whatever you want, learn whatever you want, to give whatever you want. And yes, that is true. So we've got to be grateful that God is a good God. All of us need to be very grateful. Now, feeling lucky is a whole nother thing. Okay, by default, I mean, you say, I feel lucky. It implies that somebody else is not so lucky, right? Because it's about perspective and it's all relevant, right? So this guy, he's not lucky. But you see, that's not good. We don't want to, we've been trained to think that. Oh, well, you're blessed. You see, the lines get fuzzy between gratitude and blessing and luck, okay? But no, lucky is what we don't want. I reject luck. I don't want that. Okay, I'm grateful for people. When I'm grateful to people, I'm being grateful to God. And when I'm being grateful to God and I'm loving God properly, then I am grateful for people, because these are his creations. Okay? And we need to love each other. We've got to assume when we go out into the world, no matter who you meet out there, if it's the most vile person in the world in your mind, and you've built up in your mind to be a horrible person, you still got to have a feeling of compassion and mercy. Embrace those same qualities that you need to be shown to you. And then you are fully worthy to receive mercy and compassion too, for your sins, for your need of mercy and compassion, for the grace of God. We all need it. But luck is a whole nother animal. And that's why I reject it. I don't want to feel lucky. I want to feel grateful. I don't want anybody out there being unlucky. Okay, I want the death to stop. I want the death through deliberate impoverishment to stop. And it is deliberate. That's what we've got to understand. It's anti-progress. Under the guise of progress. They say, well, look, we've made progress here, and you yourself point out the VCR went way down in cost, and your VCR dollars went way up in worth, and so you're free from paying high prices for VCR. Yeah, it's a trinket, it's a knickknack, it's a gimmick, it's a luxury item, okay? It's nothing very important. We're talking about the essential human needs needing to be cheap, okay? And first and foremost, primarily housing. Housing has really been picked on as just, that's it, man. We're all going to jump on board the housing bandwagon, and we're just going to jack up the prices, and we're going to enslave the people. And they've been very successful with Bill Clinton getting rid of the Glass-Steagall Act. Any consumer protection regulation out there went out the window. They've privatized the profits. They've socialized the debt. They've destroyed the worth of our currency. They're hitting us on so many fronts. It's ridiculous. I mean, yes, there's a chain reaction. There's a cause and effect. I mean, if your rent or your mortgage keeps going up, then you know that whatever you're selling, if it's your services or if you're selling commodities or if it's a combination thereof, I mean, you know in your mind, mathematically speaking, that you need to raise your prices to keep up with your cost of living, of which housing is a price. And so the food, and so it drives up everything. Energy price is everything. everything. And then the luxury items. I mean, in luxury services, okay? For example, having a landscaper, right? That's kind of, you got to be pretty well off to have a landscaper come to your house on a regular basis and take care of your garden, right? I mean, it used to be only the kings had a landscaper, right? A gardener. But nowadays, everybody and his brother's got one, right? Because it's been cheap, and we've got technology in there because you got the state-of-the-art equipment, so it's much faster, and so it's worked to benefit people. When services have actually not kept up at all with the cost of living, and I try to get this across to people as easily as succinctly as possible. But I feel like sometimes I'm beating my head against the wall because I feel there's so much dishonesty because people feel threatened, like the excited German Shepherd by the things I say. They somehow it's got to hurt them when I talk about equality and all this. But it doesn't. I'm talking about freedom for everybody. And if the people find that a threat, then you've got a big problem. And you'll have to answer to God for it. I don't know what else to tell you. But you can go your whole life not answering to humanity. Okay, you just rationalize in your own head, and somehow you say, well, I know my self-interests were at stake, or at least I perceived my self-interest to be at stake, and I'm not going to deal with that wild-eyed theory of equality. And so, by default, you're elitist. And the God that I know is 100% anti-elitist. This is about equality. We need equality to have freedom. These are not qualities that can be assumed by a few special interests. Okay, it's not selective. It's not exclusive. It's got to be universal. It's got to be something that's offered to all humanity. That's what we've got to understand. And all it takes is tapping into God to understand these economic philosophies. We need to be free. The only reason we should use capitalism at all as a means to an end, because that's what it would do. That's why I'm a proponent of true capitalism, which is the antithesis of pseudo-capitalism, which is crony capitalism, which creates communism, which is part and parcel of fascism. Okay, authoritarianism, totalitarianism, need I go on? Draconianism. Okay, 1984, Orwellianism, all this crap. Okay, it's all just a bunch of bull. It's elitist. And so I refuse to be any part of these people. And yes, I admit that I love money in the sense that, and this is nothing God knows. I mean, I like to pay my bills. I love to pay my bills. I thank God I can pay my bills. Thank God for all the people out there that help me pay my bills. Gosh, I'm not a liar. I'm telling you the truth. But I want to be free. And I'm willing that everybody be free, okay? And I promise I'll serve. That's all I've got is my word, my promise, my honor, my integrity. But you're going to have to trust that, at least say, let God, if it's true, if that's your will, let it be done. Just prepare me for it so it's not traumatic, because it is traumatic. It is a traumatic idea when you realize that's like 180 degrees. Our reality be so different from birth. If it was just understood, look, that Golden Gate Bridge over there, that there is your bridge. You take care of it, okay? You inherited it. That's your inheritance. And if you're tired of it, then blow it up, but deal with it. All you people that have left this inheritance. All those factories pumping out all those automobiles, Ferraris and Dodge Hellcats, whatever, that all belongs to you, okay? All this crap is just, we're all just temporarily here. We're all camping out on Mother Earth. We all know that's science, that we're passing through. That's logic, that's reason. So that's the way it is. That's the true reality. So it's all yours. So you see how we're all prosperous. You see a sailboat over there, anytime they're sitting there, doesn't sell. Anytime you want to use one, go. But I recommend you learn how to use it first, to talk to a teacher that can teach you. The same thing with flying a jet plane. You can use them, but you better know how to do it or you're going to crash, okay? And on. It all belongs to you. You want to live anywhere in the world at any time. Look, there's all these houses are vacant. They got gardens that are being tended to, and the dust is being dusted off the shelves. It's just waiting for you. All these, we've been overproductive. Now that we're all doing productive jobs in society, we're working 2 hours a week and we got too much stuff. We got crap coming out our ears. That's what I'm talking about here, folks. That's the reality we could have, so we got to find something to do with our time. Recreate, okay? We can all find play to do. What does God want for us? He wants his kids to be happy and have fun. He doesn't want work to be drudgery. What did Jesus say? My yoke is easy, my load is light. Jesus really kept it simple. We could be successful if we're successful in his eyes, and we could be very simple. You don't have to be a particularly smart, intelligent person. You just say, no, I see the truth from lies. And I see that reality could be vastly different from what